Our stories are not real and made for entertainment purpose only. Subscribe to my channel for more stories. Now let's begin this one. I thought my 40th birthday would be a milestone etched in joy, with my wife's playful blindfold leading to a surprise party filled with laughter and love. Instead, that black silk scarf hid a truth so devastating it shattered my world, and the real surprise wasn't a gift, but a betrayal so deep, it forced me to uncover secrets I'd been too blind to see, and fight for everything I held dear. I'd always believed in the strength of my marriage to Laura. After 12 years of marriage, with our two children, Sophie, aged 10 years old, and Liam, aged 7 years old, we'd built a life woven together through shared dreams, late-night talks, and quiet moments of understanding that made me certain we were unbreakable. Laura was my rock, the woman who'd laughed with me through sleepless nights with newborns and stood by me during my career's ups and downs as a software developer. So, when she insisted on blindfolding me for my 40th birthday, I didn't question it. "It's a big one, Michael," she said, her green eyes twinkling with mischief as she tied the black silk scarf around my head. "You're going to love this surprise." The kids were in on it, their giggles bubbling from the backseat of our SUV as Laura drove us to the big reveal. Sophie whispered, "Don't peek, Dad," while Liam bounced with excitement, chanting, "It's gonna be epic." Laura's hand brushed mine, warm and reassuring, as she teased, "Patience, birthday boy." Her voice carried a lightness I'd always cherished, but there was a subtle edge of tremor I couldn't quite place. I dismissed it as her nerves. Laura always got jittery when planning surprises, like the time she'd organized a secret camping trip for our anniversary. The drive felt longer than expected, the hum of the engine and the kids' chatter filling the silence. I pictured a restaurant packed with friends, balloons floating above tables, or perhaps a rented lake house for a family getaway. After about 20 minutes, the car slowed and Laura guided me out, her hand firm on my arm. The air was cool, sterile, with a faint scent of polished wood and air conditioning, not the warm buzz of a party or the crisp breeze of a vacation spot. "Almost there," she whispered, leading me through a door, her steps deliberate. When the blindfold came off, I blinked against harsh fluorescent light. No confetti, no cheers, just a stark office with a walnut desk, a stack of papers, and a man in a navy suit staring at me with clinical detachment. Laura stood beside him, her face unreadable, arms crossed tightly. "Michael, this is Mr. Reynolds, my lawyer," she said, her voice flat, stripped of the warmth I'd heard moments ago. My heart lurched. A lawyer on my birthday. My mind scrambled, grasping for sense. Was this a prank, a misunderstanding? "Sit down, Mr. Carter," Reynolds said, his tone clipped as he slid a document across the desk. "Your wife has filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. She's requesting full custody of Sophie, age 10, and Liam, age 7, as well as the house." The words hit like a physical blow, each syllable tearing through the life I thought I knew. Divorce, custody. The house we'd spent years turning into a home where Sophie learned to rollerblade, where Liam's finger paintings still decorated the fridge, was being ripped away. I stared at Laura, searching for the woman who'd kissed me that morning, who'd promised a surprise. Her eyes were fixed on the floor, her lips a tight line, refusing to meet my gaze. "Why?" I managed, my voice hoarse, cracking under the weight of betrayal. "What did I do?" She didn't answer, just shifted uncomfortably, her silence louder than any explanation. Reynolds droned on about mediation, asset division, and visitation schedules, but I barely heard him. My mind replayed every moment of our marriage arguments over laundry, my long hours coding, the times I'd been too exhausted to talk. Had I missed something? Were we that broken? The kids' laughter from the car echoed in my head. Had they known? Were they waiting outside, unaware their world was about to fracture? The meeting ended in a blur. I refused to sign anything, demanding answers Laura wouldn't give. Reynolds' impatience was palpable, but I didn't care. I stumbled out of the office, the blindfold crumpled in my hand, a cruel reminder of the trust I'd placed in her. Laura drove us home in silence, her hands gripping the wheel like a lifeline. When we pulled into the driveway, she turned to me, her voice barely a whisper. "I'm taking Sophie and Liam to my mother's for a while. We need space." Before I could respond, she ushered the kids out of the car, their confused faces glancing back at me as they disappeared into the night. My 40th birthday ended alone, the house eerily quiet without Sophie's chatter or Liam's toy car zooming across the floor. The birthday cake Laura had baked sat untouched on the counter, its cheerful yellow frosting mocking me. I poured a whiskey, staring at the divorce papers Reynolds had emailed, trying to make sense of the wreckage, irreconcilable differences. We'd had fights, sure, but nothing catastrophic. We'd laughed over pizza last week, planned Sophie's school play, made love just days ago. Or had I been blind, ignoring cracks I didn't want to see? Sleep eluded me, so I started digging. I wasn't a detective, but desperation made me methodical. I scoured our shared laptop, Laura's phone when she left it behind, our bank statements, anything that might explain her sudden decision. At first, nothing stood out. Emails about her marketing job, texts about school pickups, bills paid on time. But the absence of clues felt wrong, too polished, like a stage set for a play I didn't understand. Days turned into weeks, and Laura's silence grew heavier. She communicated only through Reynolds, refusing to see me or let me talk to the kids beyond brief, supervised calls. Sophie and Liam sent short texts, "We're okay, Dad," but their brevity cut deeper than silence. I called friends, hoping for insight, but they were as shocked as I was. Laura seemed happy, my best friend, Ryan, said, frowning. Maybe she's just overwhelmed. But overwhelmed didn't explain a divorce ambush on my birthday. Then, a month after that awful night, I found a hidden folder in Laura's email labeled client files. It was password protected, but I knew her habits. After a few tries, her childhood pet's name unlocked it. Inside were dozens of emails to someone named Jay. They weren't about clients. "Can't wait to start fresh," one read, dated for months ago. "He's clueless," said another. My chest tightened as I scrolled through months of messages, each one a dagger. Laura had been having an affair with a coworker named James, a sales director she'd mentioned casually over dinner. They'd planned weekends away, shared intimate secrets, and, worst of all, plotted to frame me as an unfit father to secure custody and the house. The emails detailed everything. James's advice to play the victim in court, forged texts to make me seem neglectful, even a plan to siphon our joint savings into a secret account. I felt sick, not just from the betrayal, but from my own blindness. How had I missed this? Laura's late nights at the office, her sudden work retreats, the way she'd pull away when I reached for her, it all clicked into place. The blindfold wasn't just for my birthday. It was a metaphor for the trust I'd given her, now weaponized against me. Rage gave way to resolve. I could have confronted Laura, screamed at her, but that would have tipped her off. I needed evidence that would hold up in court, something to protect Sophie and Liam from her lies. I hired a private investigator, Karen, a sharp-witted woman recommended by Ryan. "Give me 2 weeks," she said, "and I'll get you the truth." Karen was worth every penny. She uncovered photos of Laura and James at a beach resort, bank statements showing transfers to an account in James's name, and a recorded call where James bragged about their plan to clean Michael out. Laura had even drafted fake emails, supposedly from me, claiming I'd ignored the kids' needs. The audacity was staggering. She'd built a case against me while I was planning her surprise anniversary dinner last month. I met with a lawyer, Ms. Nguyen, who reviewed the evidence with a grim nod. "This is enough for wrongful conduct," she said. "You could get primary custody and keep the house. But we need to play this smart, let her think she's winning." I agreed, channeling my anger into strategy. I wanted Laura to face the consequences, not just for me, but for Sophie and Liam, who deserved a parent who wouldn't manipulate their lives for personal gain. Karen didn't stop at the affair. She dug deeper, uncovering Laura's attempts to alienate the kids from me. She'd told Sophie I was too busy to attend her play, despite my being there, cheering from the front row. She'd convinced Liam I'd forgotten his birthday, when I'd spent weeks planning his superhero-themed party. The lies were calculated, designed to erode the kids' trust in me, paving the way for her custody claim. The next mediation was in a cold conference room, 3 months after my birthday. Laura sat across from me, her posture confident, almost smug, as Reynolds reviewed the terms: full custody of Sophie, aged 10, and Liam, aged 7, the house, and alimony. She'd painted me as an absent father, too consumed by work to care for the kids. Her lies were convincing, and for a moment, I saw doubt flicker in the mediator's eyes. "Michael, it's best to move on," Laura said, her first words to me in weeks laced with false pity. I nodded, calm, and slid an envelope across the table to Reynolds. Before we proceed, you should see this, I said. Inside were printouts of her emails, Corinne's photos, bank records, and a transcript of James's call, all time-stamped and notarized. Reynolds's face paled as he read, his hands trembling slightly. Laura's composure cracked, her eyes darting to the papers. Where did you get this? She stammered, her voice rising. Does it matter? I said, my tone steady but cold. You lied about everything, our marriage, our kids, me. The mediator, Miss Thompson, a stern woman with piercing eyes, demanded an explanation. Laura tried to spin a story. James was just a colleague, the money was for emergency savings, but Miss Thompson wasn't buying it. The evidence was ironclad, and Corinne had ensured every document was legally admissible. The room fell silent as Miss Thompson reviewed the folder. Mrs. Carter, she said, her voice cutting, this suggests fraud and perjury. We'll need to escalate this. Laura's face crumpled, her confidence gone. Reynolds, visibly sweating, tried to backpedal, but it was too late. The mediation ended with Laura's claims dismissed, and Miss Thompson recommended a full investigation into the financial fraud. The weeks that followed were a whirlwind. The court granted me primary custody of Sophie, age 10, and Liam, age 7, citing Laura's deceptive conduct. The house stayed mine, and the secret account was frozen, with James named in a separate fraud case. He vanished, leaving Laura to face the consequences alone. The kids returned home, confused but relieved, their hugs tighter than ever. Why did Mom lie? Sophie asked one night, her voice small, clutching her stuffed bunny. I didn't have an answer, only promises to keep them safe. Liam drew a picture of us as a trio, standing strong, his way of coping. Laura showed up at our doorstep 2 months later, tears streaming, begging forgiveness. I was lost, Michael, she sobbed. James manipulated me. I made a mistake. I looked at her, the woman I'd loved for over a decade, and felt a mix of pity and resolve. You didn't just make a mistake, Laura. You tried to destroy our family. I closed the door, not out of anger, but because I'd learned a truth harder than her betrayal. Love doesn't survive lies that calculated. The kids and I started over, slowly stitching our lives back together. Sophie joined a dance class, her confidence blooming as she twirled on stage. Liam started soccer, his laughter returning as he scored his first goal. I took a leave from work, focusing on them, rebuilding the trust Laura had fractured. Friends rallied around us, and Ryan helped me set up a trust fund for the kids with the recovered savings. But the story didn't end there. 6 months later, I received a letter from Laura, mailed from a new city. She'd entered therapy, quit her job, and was trying to rebuild. I know I can't undo the pain, she wrote. But I'm learning to be better. For Sophie and Liam. I didn't reply, but I kept the letter, a reminder that people can change, even if trust can't always be restored. My 40th birthday was supposed to be a celebration, but it became a reckoning. The blindfold Laura tied wasn't just silk, it was the illusion of a perfect marriage. Stripping it away hurt, but it gave me clarity, a family built on truth, not lies, and a future where Sophie, Liam, and I could thrive. The surprise wasn't what Laura planned, but what I found within myself: strength to face betrayal and courage to start anew.